One day, as Jesus was teaching the people in the temple and preaching the gospel, the chief priests and the scribes with the elders came up and said to him, "Tell us, by what authority do you do these things, or who it is that you gave, or who it is that gave you this authority?" And now notice every time in Scripture the Pharisees challenge Jesus, they're doing it in an insincere way. They're trying to trip him up. They're not sincerely asking him questions. They're just insincerely trying to trip him up. He answered them, "I'll also ask you a question. Now tell me, was the baptism of John from heaven or from man?" And they discussed it with one another, saying, "Well, if we say from heaven, he will say, 'Why did you not believe him?'" So they answered that they did not know where it came from. And Jesus said to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority do I do these things." See, if John was from God, then he was right in saying that Jesus is the Messiah. So he caught them. He said, "Look, I don't have to tell you if I'm the Messiah or not. Look at the fruit of my life. Look at the fruit of John's life. Look at what John did. You should know this by now. You know what I'm talking about. I don't have to say it with my mouth." Isn't that so cool? You know, Muslims always want to say, where in the Bible does Jesus say, "I am God, worship me"? My God, Jesus Christ, is bigger than having to say, "I'm God, worship me." Through his actions, he deemed himself worthy of worship. We recognize his divinity through his actions, through the way he lived his life. It's beautiful. It's magnificent. And then in verse 9, he begins to tell a parable, and he began to tell the people in this parable, saying, "A man planted a vineyard." This vineyard is referencing Old Testament Israel. "A man planted a vineyard and let it out to tenants and went into another country for a long while. When the time came, he sent a servant to the tenants so that they would give him some of the fruit of the vineyard. But the tenants beat him and sent him away empty-handed. And then he sent another servant, but they also beat and treated him shamefully and sent him away empty-handed. And the owner of the vineyard said, 'What shall I do?'" I love this next passage. I think it's so crucial. "The scribes and the chief priests sought to lay hands on him at that very hour, for they perceived that he had told his parables against them, but they feared the people. So they watched him and sent spies who pretended to be sincere so that they might catch him in something he said, so as to deliver him up to the authority and jurisdiction of the governor. So they asked him, 'Teacher, we know that you speak and teach rightly and show no partiality, but truly teach the way of God. Is it lawful for us to give tribute to Caesar or not?' Caesar is the leader of the government at the time. But he perceived their craftiness and said to them, 'Show me a denarius. Whose likeness and inscription does it have?' They said, 'Caesar's.' And he said to them, 'Then render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's.'" You see, what Jesus is saying is, look, there's something that the governmental authorities require. And because God has delegated authority to the governments of the world, submission to those authorities that aren't led into sin, submit to them. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's.